Storytelling in video games is synonymous with dialogue, but equally important are things like music, player input, and the environment. In the case of the Elder Scrolls, landscapes are particularly crucial. But how, you might ask, can mountains and forests be anything more than just eye candy? How can they really tell us anything? Think of your fondest memory playing an RPG. I'll bet that it's not defeating a boss or having a conversation with an NPC, it's probably just you, the landscape, and some music. In such moments, it's not just that we're appreciating the atmosphere, we're feeling the game. The beauty of role-playing video games has always been that the player is the storyteller too, and landscapes and music are crucial for immersion. My fondest memory of the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion is when I first caught sight of the Imperial City after a long journey on foot. Oblivion was my first RPG game, and I was completely unaware that you could fast travel to any major city, so I spent a couple of hours meandering from Kvatch to the Empire's capital. Alongside a feeling of accomplishment, that vision of the white gold tower emerging from the treetops made me feel like a leaf blowing in the wind in an awesome, boundless world. In both Oblivion and Morrowind, it is through the game environment, the landscapes, that we are reminded of our ordinariness. Unlike in Skyrim, in neither the third or the fourth Elder Scrolls game is the player inherently special. In Morrowind, you become the Nerevarine after proving your worth to the Ashlanders and the Great Houses, whilst in Oblivion you are only invested as the champion of Cyrodiil after the final boss fight. In both games, the world is not your playground. In fact, Morrowind couldn't feel more inhospitable with its jagged mountains, lava pits, and frequent ash storms. The lay of the land only becomes more dangerous the further inland you venture towards the lair of Dagoth-Ur. The town where you initially land, Seyda-Neen, seems like a paradise with its bogs and swamps compared to Old Rune, a city towards Vardenfell's centre that feels as if it's incessantly under siege from the elements. Oblivion's Cyrodiil is less dour. It feels unconquerable, not because it is inhospitable, but because of its sheer vastness. The game's opening cinematic, which shows a panorama of Cyrodiil's landscapes, with the main theme crashing in your ears before zooming in on your character locked in a tiny cell, does a good job of making you feel totally insignificant. Unlike Morrowind, Oblivion has no ash storms or gloomy mountains foreboding doom. Instead, Cyrodiil's tranquility is punctured by random Oblivion gates. Everywhere you wander, there is the possibility that you could be transported from a rolling green hill to a hellscape within moments. Morrowind and Oblivion, both in their own ways, present the player with formidable and threatening landscapes. But as the narrative progresses in each game, these landscapes are brought to heel. By the end, you've risen from nothing and defeated not only the antagonist, but the land itself. Your arc from nobody to somebody is charted in your relationship to the land. Compare Oblivion's opening and closing cinematics. In the opening, you're shown a land that seems so boundless and vast to be unknowable, but in the ending scene, you're shown a series of stills, a land now known to you, and now, because of you, whole again. Skyrim uses landscapes differently. In the fifth Elder Scrolls game, the protagonist is special. They're Dragonborn, and it's made clear in the game's beginning that the land is the player's plaything. Those distant peaks that in Oblivion and Morrowind might be threatening or inaccessible are there for you to conquer in Skyrim. That's not to say there are not intimidating environments. Exploring Blackreach or any former cave will never fail to put me on edge, and one always has to be wary traversing Skyrim of a dragon attack. The game definitely wants you to feel endangered at times. At the end of the day, being a Dragonborn hardly makes you invulnerable. Also, whilst the land might be there for you to conquer, it's certainly not known to you in the beginning. The conquering has to be done, even if that's an easier feat than in Oblivion or Morrowind. Overall, Skyrim wants to make the player feel powerful. As Vlad Melnic has argued, Skyrim is an epic, and the player's interactions with the game's landscapes substantiate this. Whereas you only reach Morrowind's heart in the game's final act, after tens of hours of preparation, you scale Skyrim's tallest peak midway through the main story. Such is your mastery over the land that Skyrim's final fight takes place in another plane entirely, Sovngarde, the Nord Afterlife. Landscapes are not just there to convey general meanings in the Elder Scrolls, they can also transmit more specific points. As Paul Martin has noted, with regards to Mankar Cameron's paradise in Oblivion. In his final speech, Mankar Cameron, The Elder Scrolls IV's secondary antagonist, sets out his motive for helping Mehrunes Dagon invade the mortal plane, called Nirn. He argues that Nirn is really just another realm of Oblivion, rather than a distinct plane as the humans and elves who inhabit it like to believe. This line of thought seems ludicrous. From what the player sees of Oblivion throughout the game, it's a hellscape. It could not be more utterly different from Nirn, but Cameron's own pocket of Oblivion mimics the visuals of Cyrodiil, with its lush gardens and flowing rivers, in a way that challenges our conception of what a realm of Oblivion must look like. Cyrodiil is, like Cameron's realm, a mere garden and simply one more realm of Oblivion. In this video, I have tried to argue that landscapes are not just pretty veneers in The Elder Scrolls. If all the other aspects of the 3 games I have discussed remained the same, but the landscapes were completely altered or randomized, they would be poorer for it. In other words, the environments of these games are closely related to the stories that they wish to tell. In some cases, landscapes are there to convey specific messages or to create atmosphere, but their most important function is that which I alluded to in the beginning, providing an immersive canvas that inspires the player to tell their own story.